Good morning, everybody. This is Diggs. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest, and today we're going to be talking about everything relating to food in Tower of Fantasy. That's going to be what Satiety is used for, and that's going to be some really good recipes, as well as how to discover these recipes that are going to be very helpful in game. So let's go ahead and dig in. Now, you've already heard me say it once, but the first thing we're going to talk about is satiety. And yes, that is how it's pronounced. And just to prove that, here's Google to say it for you.
Satiety.
So now that we know how to actually pronounce this, let's go ahead and talk about what this is. So satiety is a stat in the game that can be filled by some food items. Now, there are food items that are dedicated exclusively to satisfying your satiety. So right here you can see I'm popping some food that has the only benefit of increasing your satiety, and I'm going to use it. Now, a lot of people might ask, what is the point of increasing your satiety? Well, let's go and look at this handy little guide here, because I think a lot of people don't realize this exists. So what's the point of satiety? Satiety is your auto health regen. So it's when you are not in combat, the amount of HP that is restored. It essentially caps out at 5% HP restored every 2 seconds if you do have it between 61 and 100. For every 10% of HP restored, 1 satiety point will be reduced, and 1 satiety point will be deducted every 5 minutes. So this is something you're going to want to maintain and make sure whenever you're starting playing that you are filling this bar. It is simply your auto regen. Now, you have options for other foods, and probably the biggest other feature for food is going to be healing. Now, when we take a look down here, you can choose what item, as it does show you in the game, to set for your food, and a lot of times you're going to want to set your purple food if you do have it when we eventually get there further in the game, because it restores 20% of your HP and plus 60,000. For a lot of players that are not in that position right now, which is almost everybody, where you can't farm the materials to harvest purple food, you are going to want to craft blue food that does restore your HP, particularly if you're not running with a healer or you just need some quick HP. So blue food is going to give you 15% of your HP plus 20,000. To give you some perspective, my character has about 50,000 HP, so it is going to be pretty good at healing you up. And there is a variety of recipes I could recommend for you guys here. How do you get them? How do you cook them? What are these recipes that I'm talking about? So let's go ahead and pull up the cooking menu. And a lot of people don't realize that there is actually a creation menu down here on the bottom. And once you create something, you can make it. So I created the steamed egg with sea urchin, which is one of the really good recommended recipes that I'm going to give you guys. It's 2 sea urchins and 2 eggs. You can also do boiled scallops, which is going to be 2 scallops and 3 lettuce. You can also do crab, which is going to be 2 crabs and 2 lettuce. Now, the reason these 3 dishes are really good for HP restoration right now, we don't have access to a lot of the purple items to potentially make higher level food, and it's going to be relatively easy to gather the ingredients. And that is a big factor, because some of the ingredients are hard to find, some of them have different names, and even if you are using a great resource like the interactive map right here, what you're going to find out is that the interactive map sometimes doesn't have the right positions for items, or doesn't show you how to properly get these items. A great example for this would be some of the meat items that are HQ drops, right? Specifically, that would be something like rear hock or rear shank, right? That's something that you can get from killing boars or rabbits pretty much anywhere on the first continent. It's a more rare drop, but it only has 4 drop locations if it does populate onto the map here. There's also other items that are just not present in the places that the game indicates. So the interactive map is not always 100% accurate. It's, for the most part, gives a good ballpark region, but if you're going for some of the rarer food materials, you may want to keep that in mind. If you're looking for some other recipes you may want to do besides the one that I recommended, what you can do is you come here to the Tower of Fantasy Index and pull up the food recipes like I have, and we're going to show you how to discover a recipe. So Spicy Burger here requires 3 grain, 2 hawk, and it requires 1 lettuce. So let's go ahead and hop back into the game here. So we'll go down to creation in the lower left-hand corner, and it was 2 grain, and it was, oh my gosh, I forgot already. It was 3 grain, 2 hawk, and 1 lettuce. So 3 grain, 2 hawk, and we will do 1 lettuce. And you'll see right below my webcam over here is it gives me a success rate of 42%. Now, that success rate is for the recipe itself. It could also be regarding any of the other recipes that you maybe don't have discovered. So for example, I have 2 hawk in this recipe. Having 2 hawk in this recipe is also another recipe for a green dish regarding meat. So it's possible that I may unlock that instead. So I'm going to go ahead and go to cooking success here, and we will see if it is going to go ahead and go through. It usually doesn't when you get awful stew. That's usually your indication that you want to try again. We'll go ahead and try again. 45% chance. We do have a reasonable chance of success here. And there you go. We got our spicy burger, and we can now, under the cooking menu, get our spicy burger. Another thing a lot of people don't know about here as well is in the creation menu, there is a book that is only accessible in this menu. So when you do unlock recipes, you actually get dark crystals. So you can keep track of all of the recipes you have unlocked that are currently available in the game, and they're going to give you some black crystals for it. So this is another way to fill up the black crystals and kind of prepare yourself for the future. And a lot of the food is going to be like the spicy burger here, which increases physical attack 1% and physical attack plus 45 for 900 seconds. This is really good. It's good food. It's definitely, you know, food that's going to make you more powerful. I think this type of food we don't necessarily need a ton of right now. Maybe in the future when we are optimizing with certain purple foods and we want to stack certain effects, these can definitely be powerful. But for right now, I think most people are just going to want to focus on the HP restoration because we're running around, we're fighting boss battles, we're doing a lot of content, and some people may not necessarily have a good healer. You could, of course, set a staff in your secondary, the SR staff, and kind of heal yourself that way. But this is a really good way to panic heal yourself, and you are going to want to watch as you do progress in the story for when you do start getting those purple ingredients or some of those more rare ingredients to make that plus 60,000 HP food for your character. So hopefully this guide helped you guys out. I think this has been one of the most important things for me because I used all my purple food that was 60,000 HP restoration, and then I only had green food, and I was like, oh my God, what do I do? So hopefully this helps you guys, and I will catch you guys next time.